Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
Back at you, Gloves Off. I'm Paul Buitron. I'm here with Pastor Jorge Tovar, and we're touching base on an event that is coming up on Thursday, correct?
Thursday, March 4th.
And this event deals with the future of the education of our children. It's something that people should start paying attention to on what are the schools teaching our kids. Pastor, tell us, what is the importance of this event?
The importance is that our traditional familia, it's being attacked. And the sad part about it is that we're sitting down taking it. We're not standing up, defending or protecting our family. And the way it's being attacked, they're going directly to our children, knowing that if they indoctrinate in a certain ideology in their hearts and their minds, they'll grow up thinking that way. They'll take it up as their philosophy, as their way of living. And we want to, as family, as parents, we want to maintain the traditional family. We want to instill in them our values. And 99% of our values in our culture is biblical based. Whether you admit it or not, it's biblical based. We've always respected our elders. We've always respected our brothers, our familia. We always respected. So those values come into play in our families. But when it's attacked and without the parents knowing, and little by little, even in our media culture, you see the television, the programs, it's becoming a norm. What these organizations are teaching our children at schools, or trying to, is becoming a norm in the media, in the televisions, in the programs, in the seasons, episodes, and all that. And you see a young person right now. You ask him, you think it's wrong for a boy be kissing a boy and a girl kissing a girl? They say, I don't see anything wrong with it. And it's becoming a norm because that's what they're growing up with. So we need to step up and say, okay, this is where we draw the line, especially if it comes touching our school districts, and they're doing that behind the scenes. People need to be aware. An awareness needs to take place. So parents, spiritual leaders, business owners needs to stand and say, hey, wait a minute, why are you doing that? Without any consent, parental consent or anything. So we need to, start doing something about this before it gets out of hand. There are some cities that have already adopted curriculums in their school districts. There's LGBTQ ideology indoctrinating even from kinder and up. And I saw some books of them, and they're very, very graphic for my kids to see all those things. I would say, no, I don't want that. But we thank God that some people rose up and defended, and they went against it, so they were able to stop it and reverse it. We don't want that to happen in Laredo. Right now, we're fine. We can fight a battle from the top of the hill. If we wait and don't do anything, then we'll be fighting a battle going uphill, and that's going to be a little bit harder. So this event directs itself to warn and make the parents aware, the spiritual leaders, pastors, business owners, everyone, the public, aware what's trying to take place in our school districts. And the speakers that are coming in, they're going to provide us with tools and what to do, what we can do. Even Pictures Values is coming in to tell us what laws are in place and what we can use against to stop this indoctrination in our school districts.
You know, this education for kids is something that has been spinning hectically for many years. And people might say on the opposite side and say, well, wait a minute, you know, you need to respect kids that grow up with homosexual parents or parents of the same sex or what have you. And all that's fine and dandy, and I understand that. You know, I look at this. Kids, the innocence of our society is our children. And we at home, I would say to the age of 7, more or less, 6, 7, we are able to instill into our kids morals and respect and so on and so forth before society takes a hold of them. And I mean society, the educational systems. Because the educational systems are basically going to be with our kids longer than we're actually with them, as per se, you know, because they're asleep 8 hours at night.
That's right.
So we have to have a type of, how can I put it, Pastor, type of education that is acceptable through the whole society spectrum of the United States. But a 6-year-old should not be learning anything about sex. An 8-year-old should not be learning anything about sex. A 10-year-old, or, you know, maybe when they come to puberty. I remember we used to have sex education. I remember the first time they gave it to us was at 6th grade, but most 6th graders are already 11 years old, you know. I think we should teach our teens about it. Teach our teens what sexual education is. Okay? Mm-hmm. But I don't think our schools should be going into a moralic type of environment saying all this is kosher, all this is against. It should not even be taught. Period. Whether it's heterosexual or whether it's homosexual or what have you, you know, sex should not be taught in the beginning ages. You know, it leads to many other things. And the worst part is pedophilia. Understand?
Yes.
If the person is an adult and you know they go and they will say that they all of a sudden they want to, you know, they're gay, or they come out of the closet or what, there's nothing we can do. That person is an adult, is a tax-paying individual.
That's right.
That's his problem. But don't you touch a child.
That's right.
You know, because there's many of us out here that are going to put your head in the concrete, you know, but you know what I'm saying? So, yes. And so that's what needs to, that's what I look at it. So I think our schools should leave that out, not be there. Let children be children.
Right. The parents have a moral obligation for their children in that sense. The schools, up to a point, they have a responsibility to teach sex education like maybe you and I were taught. But it's gone beyond the birds and the bees. No, they added other animals to it, other insects to it, you know. So, you know, first it was just homosexual, now it's LGBTQ and so on and so on. And just to make it clear, we're not against the people.
Right.
We're not against the homosexual. No, we're against the ideology trying to be imposed into our children in an innocent level. Their children being in an innocent level, and for them to be taught an ideology, a way of living, that shouldn't be it at schools. You know, schools is academic, not any related to what the issues we're talking about. So, but I am aware that it's already started unofficially. I bumped into a couple of events that they went ahead and presented that ideology to adults. But I bumped into an event that they were doing here, and I found out through an educator, and is also a pastor, and he called it to my attention. Says, "Pastor, this is going on," And I know because I've been invited to speak in this event, so, and I saw the agenda and I saw the people who are going to talk, and I know what subject they want to talk about. And the scary part comes in when it was for students only, and it's an out of school activity, not at the school site, at the school properties, but somewhere else. And another deceiving thing is that they attach themselves under, let's say, for example, I'm just going to throw a name out there, Domestic Violence Coalition. They go ahead and attach themselves there in the agenda, and they do their thing without even coming up. The title is
Whatever.
sexual indoctrination, homosexual, whatever. They don't do that because they know that people are going to react. Here in Laredo, we are very conservative. So when that happened and I found out, I attended. I went, and they did not let me in. They were denying me going in. And I said, look, I'm a pastor. I want to go in. I want to find out what training, what you're presenting, so I can confront or I can show and pass this on to the parents in my congregation, because I have kids. Their kids are going to my church. So, I want to be prepared. But I was denied. And all this time, they didn't let me in. I was witnessing they were rejecting the parents to go in. And they would say, it's just for students. And they offered community hours.
That's what it's
and they were offering community hours. It's just for students. And the parent not knowing said, okay, that's fine. We're going to go to our mall, come back, and we'll pick them up, whatever. And see, that's where I saw, I said, wow, this is wrong. I mean, they're doing it, but this is wrong. I finally ended up leaving, but they brought an attorney and tried to tell me and explain to me that why I couldn't go in, and all this time I was able to go in, but they just didn't let me. But I found out that they scratched it off the agenda on that date just because I brought a question to it. So, and this is just one, Mr. Buitrón, just one. And Lord knows how many other events they did this, without anybody knowing.
You see, the nefarious action is that going in under something else. We're here in the Mufflers Mechanics Association, and then all of a sudden they're talking about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We're going to help you fix your muffler. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So,
and I understand when it involves adults. I mean, we can't do anything much about that. But when it's minors, and they really need parental consent, and they don't have the consent because it's under a deceiving, false pretense, so that's when it becomes wrong. And I want parents, I want leaders. Again, I'll repeat it. Them to be aware of what's going on, because right now we can fight it from the top of the hill.
There has to be a time and place for that, and and I understand, because believe me, I have friends that are homosexual. I had instructors and business partners that were homosexual, and that was their own basis.
Yeah, we have family. Yeah.
They're that's their own prerogative, and that's what they do behind closed doors. That's their issue, not mine. Who am I to judge?
Exactly.
But when you start dealing with kids, it changes the story. It's leave our kids alone, period. And that's just the way it is.
Who's going to defend them?
Exactly.
Who's going to stand up for them?
Absolutely. And we have to stand up for that. Right. It's like and believe me, there's a lot of child abuse. There's a lot of sexual abuse of minors. It goes on daily. That was the worst part of, and my wife and I were talking about it, the worst part about this pandemic that's been going on. Kids are locked up. Kids cannot go to school for the people to see, their counselors to monitor to see if they're not there's no abuse going on. Those were the dangers. That's what was worrying more than anything else.
If you really make a research on this, the domestic violence rose, the suicides rose because of the shutdowns.
Sure.
So, I'm one of those that say, okay, we tried it this way, let's try something different, because this is not working. It's just getting worse. And I'm glad, we were talking at the beginning that the governor lifted up the shutdowns, the mask mandates and all that, so, and I thank God for that, because it was way overdue. A year, so so I think that'll help families. They'll help children, and this event I think will help even more.
Absolutely.
So
when is the event and when is it about?
the event is this Thursday, the day after tomorrow, and it's March 4th at 7 p.m. And it's going to be covered live stream through Facebook, and it's also going to be presented in English, but everything's going to be translated in Spanish during the event. So let me see what else. It's going to be at the corner of Meadow and Clark Boulevard at a church called Árbol de Vida, where Pastor Jorge Martinez is hosting this event for us. Laredo Prayer Task Force. Laredo Prayer Task Force is a group of pastors that got together and we fought the LGBTQ amendment to the anti-discrimination back in 2018. So and we were successful in that. So this group of pastors, some of the state meeting on a monthly basis to have a watchful eye over what's going on, right? So since then we've been involved. So Laredo Prayer Task Force is joined in with Texas Values, the Austin, Texas organization, and we're sponsoring this event. And along comes president and founder of Concerned Parents of Texas from Austin, Texas. Her name is Carol Ayala, and she fought this curriculum issue in Austin, Texas, and they were successful. And she created another foundation called Standing Up for Children. And then another speaker will be Monica Leal Klein. She's trained and taught by the Planned Parenthood and the LGBTQ organization. But she gave her life to the Lord, and she came out of all that, and now she's speaking and what they do and what they manipulate to get their agenda going. So she's going to be another speaker, and she founded an organization called It Takes a Family. So she's going to be one of the other speakers. Another speaker will be Pastor Frank Pomeroy. He's a pastor from Sutherland Springs. He's the pastor that lost his daughter and 25 other church members because of a shooting back in 2017. And the last but not least speaker is going to be Mary Elizabeth Castle from Texas Values, and she's in charge of one of the people in charge of policy over there at the Capitol.
Sure.
So she's going to bring in the policy along what's in place, what we can use to protect what we're doing here in Laredo. So it's going to be a good event. It's going to be at 7 p.m. at Árbol de Vida Church, corner of Clark and Meadow, 1601 Clark Boulevard.
Absolutely. Folks, if you're interested, this is going to be a good event. And believe me, we're not against homosexuals, we're against lesbians, we're not against that. We're against the issue of taking away the innocence of our children.
Amen.
Let's keep our kids being kids. I think everybody can agree with that. And it's nothing about that. You're 18 years old, and how can you do it? You could be a good, successful adult in the United States, taxpayer, good citizen society, but maintain the faith. There's nothing wrong with that. But let's stop the abuse of kids. It's number one. Let's take care of our kids. Pastor, I want to thank you for what you do, and keep doing what you're doing, because your outreach is there.
Amen.
And we need to go out there and we need to start stopping the injustices. Even though some people might call it's unjust not to do this, it's unjust to do this.
That's right. That's right.
Folks, until next time, peace.
God bless. Thank you.
Remember, stay safe, be safe, and always give thanks to the Lord.
Today, in America, more than 5.5 million men, women, and children train in a martial art regularly. Bowie Tyrone Academy has been serving Laredo for over 30 years now. Our adult classes are geared for producing the best in you, teaching you street-ready techniques. With the arts of Savate and Kinpo, you'll learn the traditions of these sciences of combat as passed down professor to student.
Hello, my name is Stephen Plank, and to whom this may concern. Professor Paul Buitron is an outstanding human being and a close friend of mine, where his martial art prowess and skill is at equal to his humanity. His teaching capabilities are what one would expect of someone from his caliber. I've been in martial arts since I was 9. I'm 65 years old now. However, if I had a son or daughter who needed to learn self-defense, anti-bullying techniques, and/or gain a higher level of skill in fighting, and in which I could not instruct, then Professor Paul Buitrón would be my choice. His martial understanding of his savate is higher than anyone else I have met. His pedigree is impeccable. He comes highly recommended by myself. Guru Stephen Plank. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Richard Planis. I was the vice president of the IKKA for Ed Parker for many years, 10 years before he died. And I still travel the world teaching all over. And I met lots of people through the years. One of them I want to congratulate is Paul Buitrón down in Laredo, Texas. He's opening a new school, and that's always good to hear. I've known Paul since he was about 18 years old. I couldn't even tell you how old he is now. We've known each other for a long time, and he's like a lot of people should be, takes art seriously. He incorporated many arts, in his school. He does, capoeira, silat, jiu-jitsu, eskrima, kenpo, lots of different things. Any art like myself that you have to see a value in, you can bring it in and incorporate it if you want to. Anyway, so he's opening a new school, and I'd like to recommend it to anybody who wants to train down in the Laredo area. Meet him, go see him, you'll have fun. Thank you. Bye.
Come train at the best-kept secret of Laredo. Give us a call for your free evaluation at 956-401-4868 or check out our website at savate.biz. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook.